I'm going to show you how to solve a triangle, which means to find all the sides and all of the angles. The first thing you really need to know is how to label a triangle. Now, if you're labeling an angle A, the side opposite that angle needs to be called A. So if this is angle B, the side opposite that angle is called B. And if it's angle C, the side opposite that is called C. Using that way to label a triangle, you can use this law, the law of sines. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a blank triangle over here. And let's see, A is equal to 2. Let's stay consistent with that. A is 2. C is 4. And angle alpha is 30. Now, sometimes instead of calling that angle A, if they call that side A, they'll call it alpha, beta, gamma, right? They'll just label it like that. So this is 30. That's the side, that's the angle opposite A, right? So that's 30 degrees. And that's all we have. We want to find all the other angles. So let's use the law of sines. So sine, I'm sorry, I have it the opposite way. Let us do the side first. So 2, right? That's the side. That's the side over sine of what angle? It's the angle opposite that side. So that's 30 is equal to, well, we know this side. We don't know what angle that is. So let's just put sine of x. Now, if you don't remember what sine of 30 is, you can type it into your calculator and you should, or just look at a unit circle, and you should get a half. Now, if you're getting something crazy, you have to make sure and change your calculator to degree mode, right? Because we're dealing with degrees, not radians. This is still sine of x. Now, I hate saying cross multiply, but I'm going to cross multiply. 0.5 times 4, that's a half of 4, which is just 2. And 2 times sine of x is 2, forget the 2 sine of x. Divide both sides by 2, and you get 1 is equal to sine of x. Now, how do we figure out what x is? Well, you could ask yourself, if you're knowledgeable of the sine curve or the unit circle, what on that unit circle, what angle should we have to get 1? Well, it's 90, right? But if you didn't know that and you just want to use a calculator, that's okay. Just type in inverse sine, right? And you're going to just swap these two. Inverse sine of 1 will give you x, right? You're just switching these two things. And you should get 90. And again, if you're getting something else, you simply don't have your calculator in degree mode, or you're typing something wrong or something along those lines. So now we know that this angle, well, my triangle is pretty bad. This angle is a right angle. So if this is 90 degrees and that's 30, well, the three angles in the triangle are supposed to add up to 180. So 180 minus 90 minus the 30 would leave me with 60. And it's a right triangle. Let's try to draw this triangle better. All right, so I know that's a right angle. I know this is my side of 2. I know this is my angle of 30. I know that's my side of 4. Right, that's the longest side because it's the hypotenuse. And this is 60. Okay, all we have is one side missing. You don't need anything special. We could actually use the law of sines again to figure it out. But you could just use the Pythagorean Theorem as well. And if you don't remember what that is, that's a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Right? We could only do this because it's a right triangle. If this was an angle other than 90 and, you know, there were no right angles, then you would have to stick to the law of sines. All right, but this is just much easier to use in this case. So a squared is 2, right? That it doesn't matter which is a and b as long as you leave the hypotenuse for c, right? That's reserved for c. So 2 squared plus, well, this is what we're trying to find. So leave that as b. So that's 4 plus b squared is equal to 16. Minus 4 on both sides. B squared is equal to 12 because we're minusing 4. Square root that thing. and you get b is equal to the square root of 12. And we could simplify that if we want to into the square root of 4 times the square root of 3, right? All you have to do is find two numbers that multiply to give you 12. The square root of 4 is the number 2. So you get 2 radical 3, right? That's what this is. This is 2 radical 3. And I'll just do it over here using the law of sines anyway, so you could see it. So we said 2 over sine of 30, right? Like we already used that already. And now I'm just going to use it for the unknown side, because remember, we didn't know what that was. So that would have just been x over sine of 60. Okay. Cross multiply. So that's, well, we know what sine of 30 is. Sine of 30 is a half. And do you remember what sine of 60 is? Well, you can type it into a calculator and you'll get a not very nice number. So I like to remember my 30-60 degree triangle. It looks like this. This is a very special right triangle. 30, 60, and this is a 1, 2 square root of 3. Right, so 2 goes there, square root of 3 goes there, my 1 goes there. Okay, so the sine of 60, remember sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I'm going all the way back here to SOHCAHTOA now. SOHCAHTOA. Sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's square root of 3 over 2. So this is just square root of 3 over 2 times 2, which is square root of 3 over 2 times 2. Right, the 2's cancel. You remember just the square root of 3. So that is x is a half. I'm going to write that 0.5 as a half. A half x is equal to square root of 3. How do you get rid of a half or a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal. And this cancels out with that. Remember, x is equal to 2 square root of 3. Right, so that's if you wanted to use the law of sines and you wanted to get a nice number instead of a decimal, because if you use a calculator, you'll get a decimal for that. You could also use a unit circle. Okay, so this is the answer. You have all the sides and all of the angles.